How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the next lecture, in which we're going to be doing once again a lab session. So as you can see, I have the camera set up and we're going to be looking at a couple of unmanaged switches. And the goal today is, as I had explained on the whiteboard in the previous session, is to experiment with some IP addresses and subnet masks. So just to review what we had done in the previous lab as we looked through some of the hardware, we basically connected from our laptop to the VFD at the address of 192.168.1.7. So we're going to make sure that is still working before we look at the hardware we have for you today.
Thank you so much for watching our channel. If you have a moment, I would truly appreciate if you could subscribe and like the video. If you could also leave me a comment as to whether the content is interesting for you, or if you would like to see something else in manufacturing industrial automation. It helps us tailor some of the future videos. I will also mention that we have a ton of different tutorials and articles that go way beyond the content on the joeltech.com website. If you need help on some of your projects, don't hesitate to reach out. With that in mind, let's get back to the video.
And as a reminder, because you will be doing this a lot in the field, what you need to always double check is open your control panel, go into your network and sharing center. Here, change adapter settings. We're going to then locate, once again, the USB to gigabit Ethernet adapter that we have changed the IP address of. Let's double check that everything is set in place. We're going to click on properties. We're going to double check the IPv4, which is currently set to 192.168.1.10, exactly as we would expect. I can either type in CMD, or if you have that pinned on your desktop, you can open the command prompt, and here I can run ipconfig before we do the ping. And so ipconfig is a command that should expose all the IP addresses on all of the different interfaces that we currently have. And so here, if I scroll through it on my USB, I should have this 192.168.1.10, and that's going to be the subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Here we have Ethernet adapter 5, and that should match basically what we see inside of the network and internet connections for our PC. So always make sure to match the adapter name to what you're looking at. As you can see here, I have a lot of disconnected adapters used for various VPNs, so it's important to check the right settings. So here I can issue the command of ping 192.168.1.7, and as you can see, I am getting all of the 4 replies as I would expect from the VFD. So on the hardware side, we do have a problem. If I'm looking to connect, for example, to this PLC, I only have a single port coming out of my laptop, and as I mentioned multiple times, the second port on the VFD is not for Ethernet purposes, so I cannot simply connect from here to my PLC. So what I'm going to have to do is use, in this case, an unmanaged switch. I'm going to unplug, and as I plug into my unmanaged switch, you'll notice a couple of things happen. Now, there's not going to be the need to review unmanaged switch data sheets. They're going to be very straightforward, and if you want to see the mechanical drawings and how to power them, perhaps that's what you can get out of them. But ultimately, I'm providing 24 volts based on the scheme, and as you can see here, I've plugged into the port and immediately saw the lights flicker. Lights flickering meaning that there is some traffic being passed. Of course, nothing else is currently plugged into the switch, so there's nowhere for that traffic to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this short cable that has been crimped, and I'm going to plug it into any random port on the switch. Again, for the purposes of unmanaged switches, it doesn't matter which port you're going to plug in, and I'm going to plug it into the exact same port as we had before on the VFD. We're going to switch back over with the new configuration, and I'm going to once again ping that same IP address, and as you would expect, I am getting the responses from the VFD on that specific IP address. All we're doing is we've added a switch that's basically passing the traffic from my laptop card to the unmanaged switch, and from the unmanaged switch to the VFD. So let's make this setup a little bit more complicated, and that's going to be adding the PLC here. And so I don't know how well you can see it, but the IP address occasionally scrolls on the display of the PLC, And basically it's going to be 192.168.1.33. And I want you to take my word for it. So we're going to ping the IP address before we start plugging anything in. So if I once again switch to the screen, I'm going to press basically my arrow key here. I'm going to type in 33 and I'm going to press enter. Now you will notice that obviously there's nothing of that specific IP address, so we're going to get a lot of host unreachable and timeout messages. So let's go back into the table view, and I have this very long RJ45 cable, basically a spool that's going to go from one of my ports, and it's important that we plug into the right port. Again, this is a conversation for a separate tutorial, but this specific PLC has 2 configurable ports that can be set to different IP addresses. So we need to make sure that we are configuring, or basically we're setting the cable into the port that we're expecting that IP address to be on. So we're going to plug that in. Again, in the unmanaged switch, it does not matter where, but ultimately, as soon as I plug in, there's going to be some green lights, and that is the indication that we are getting the IP address. So I actually am double checking, so port A1 is the right IP address. I can switch to the monitor that I have here, press up, press on enter, and as you can see, we are getting the response from that IP address, so 192.168.1.33. Now, I wanted to illustrate, so as an example, if I modify the settings on my adapter, so I had mentioned this before, but if I change the last octet of my IP address, press on OK, press on OK. If I run ipconfig just to make sure it took, you'll see Ethernet 5 is now 1.100. If I ping the device, let's see, so 1.7, I can still ping it. If I press Ctrl C to cancel out, 1.33, I can still ping it without any issues. However, if I change, for example, the IP address to 2.100 and I press on OK, double check that the adapter took, as you can see right here, it has not yet took. Let's double check that again. So 2.100, and then I'm going to ping my device, and I'm no longer able to do so because we are again on a different subnet now than we were before. And so this is extremely important, and I guess a trap for newer OT admins or control systems engineers. You need to be on the same subnet. Now, if we open up the subnet mask, is that going to work? And the answer is most likely no, because on the devices you have the subnet mask of 255.255.255. So let's just double check ipconfig. As you can see, the subnet mask has now been changed, and I can ping .7. I'm not getting any responses. So the question is, how do we change the subnet mask? And I'm going to walk you through those steps. Again, this is going to be obviously different for every device, but I've done this many times for the PowerFlex series, and so I'm very comfortable navigating to the right parameters. So as you may remember, C129 was our IP address, so 192.168.1.7, after which you have the subnet mask, so 133 is 255, 134 255, 135 needs to be set to 0, and then obviously 136 is already set to 0. Now we must not forget that we also need to reboot the drive for these settings to take effect, and once again this is going to be different between every device. And so for the PowerFlex, that's going to be your parameter P53 that's going to allow us to basically reboot the drive and the communication module so that we could reset the settings and make sure that they took for the IP address and the subnet mask. So as you can see here, I have set it to 4 based on the datasheet. I'm going to press enter, and then the drive should reboot and basically take perhaps a minute for us to allow to ping it on the new IP address and subnet mask. And so if we switch over back to our terminal, ping 192.168.1.7, is now perfectly fine. Of course, we have not changed the subnet mask of the PLC, therefore we should not be able to ping it. And so I want you to take away from this simple experiment that you need to be very clear on the IP address as well as the subnet mask of the devices that you're looking to communicate with. Now, the last thing that I do want to mention, if we switch over to the set of hardware that we currently have, is that I have two separate switches that are both unmanaged. And so right now, as you can see, we are plugged into the same one. And so what I can do is I can reconfigure the switches, as I've mentioned before, in order to extend the number of ports. And of course, as you would hopefully understand, if we're going to ping the device in this configuration, nothing is going to happen because right now I have no direct path from this switch to the other switch. So I basically need to add a cable before I can proceed. And all we're going to do is create basically a jumper as I've described. I'm going to plug that into one of the switches and then plug that into the other. And so just to review again, so my laptop is coming in on this yellow cable. That's going to be my USB to Ethernet adapter. We then have a jumper from that switch via the white cable. We then have an internal jump, of course, to the blue cable, and that cable goes to the VFD. So let's switch over back to the monitor and see if we can still ping our device. And that the answer is going to be, of course, yes, because we now have both of those unmanaged switches placed together. So if you're following along, what I would like for you to do is, number one, see if you can locate an unmanaged switch and use it for practice. See if you can find a couple of different devices, the IPs and the subnet masks of which you know how to set. If you can't, or if you don't have the documentation, see if you can find the manuals or understand how you can make those changes. Again, for Rockwell, it's going to be one software. For Siemens, it's going to be a different software. For other manufacturers, they're going to have their own tools. But generally speaking, start practicing with live devices with unmanaged switches. I'm sure that you will run into certain issues. We will be discussing troubleshooting in a later tutorial. But at this point, I want you to be comfortable configuring the IP address on the subnet mask of your computer, your laptop, your server, and some of the field devices that you have access to.